Hey guys, welcome back to Couch to Crit, where I bring a cyclist from couch fitness to criterium success. Want to welcome our special guest today, Jacob Geisler. Welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited to have you on. Let me just make sure I get all of your acronyms right here. You are a master's nutrition scientist. You are an American College of Sports Medicine certified exercise physiologist.
Yep.
And you're also a USA Triathlon Level 1 coach and a precision nutrition coach.
That's right.
And let me just put that in plain English for you guys. When it comes to nutrition, he knows exactly what he's talking about. He's a modest guy. He might not say it, but I'm
Right.
really excited to pick his brain because honestly, like, my nutrition plan might have been wrong all these years. I'm actually quite worried about it. And also for Logan, I want to make sure Logan's nutrition plan is on track too. And that's a good segue to Logan. Welcome back to the channel, Logan.
How's it going, everybody?
So Logan, for those who don't know, is our test subject for this series, and it's the goal of this video series is to get Logan as fast as possible for 60 minutes. It's couch to criterium success. So it's not just training, it's also nutrition, which is the topic of today's episode, and it's equipment, and it's everything else that goes into, it's a comprehensive approach to making a cyclist faster. So we finally had a week COVID-free of like consistent training because, in case you guys missed it in the last episode, Logan caught the Rona, and he's all better now. Tell us how your week of training went.
It was good. I think I wanted to jump back into it a little too quick, and so I took about a week after, I was COVID-free, and you told me to take it a little slower, make sure I was fully recovered. So that definitely helped, and now I'm back in full swing, things are definitely better than they probably would have been. Jumping the gun.
I think we've all been there. I've definitely been there. I haven't had Rona, but but I've had the flu and I have a cold and whatever. And they're always really eager, like, oh, I've missed all this training time. And I think it's really easy to jump back into training too quickly, and it does more harm than good. And even if you do execute the workout, it's like, are you actually getting the adaptation? Probably not. So it was my job to kind of like pull the reins back because Logan was rearing to go, and I said, hey, take another week off. Like, make sure you're well, and then we can get back into the program. And another thing that Logan wanted to do was add some more workouts. And that was another thing. I was like, dude, just do the prescribed workouts. I love the motivation, by the way, Logan. I appreciate that. But it was like, let's get the workouts done. And let's do exactly as TrainerRoad prescribes, because that's how this works. And in about a month's time, about this time next month, you'll be retesting. And that's going to be a good opportunity for us to kick the tires a little bit and be like, hey, is the training working? Are we seeing an increase in performance? And then it's at that point we can say, okay, we have a month under our belt at low volume sweet spot base 1, which is what Logan's doing now. And we can decide, does it make sense for Logan to jump into medium volume and to commit more time and energy into increasing his training volume? So that's where we're at training wise. And I don't want to spend much more time on that. I want to get into the topic of today's episode, which is nutrition. And yeah, Jacob, again, really happy to have you on, and I want to start just by going through the basics. So take it away.
Yeah, of course. And the basics, I mean, the key takeaway is that the basics are going to be different for everyone. And primarily speaking, I mean, I like to frame it in terms of changing the athlete's thinking in terms of, did they just work out? Are they in the middle of a workout, or are they about to work out? And that goes for, it could be the end of the day and you have a workout in the morning, or you're getting off, you have a work shift ending at 4 and you have a workout at 6 p.m. I mean, it's just about thinking about nutrition in terms of you are the vehicle, and you need to give your vehicle the right fuel and enough fuel to make it through the workouts primarily is what we're going to be focused on.
So are carbs dope?
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, that's what's funny is I think for our products in particular, I mean, most nutrition products, they have the word energy on them. And, some people, because of the energy drink world, they think energy is a bad thing, but carbs are energy. That's where you get the energy from, and that's where the dope comes from. So it works. And when people say, I took a gel and I felt it, I felt the boost, and it's like, could have been the caffeine, but it was probably the 20 to 40 grams of carbs they had, and it was easily digestible, so they felt it immediately.
So the other macronutrients, protein and fat,
That's right.
critical for your diet and your overall health, but when we're talking about on the bike training, it's all
Right.
about the carbs.
So of those macronutrients, and again, carbs, fat, and protein, carbs is the number one. That's the gold standard when we're looking at exercise. And for what Logan's doing, he's trying to be as quick and efficient as possible over the course of 60 minutes. So the conversation changes with the length of the workout or the length of the race, but primarily speaking, carb is number one, and then I would say that the other two fall on the back burner for what happens in between Logan's workouts, in between Logan's racing, where the emphasis may come away from carbohydrates and it might lean onto protein in terms of recovery. It might lean into fat in terms of Logan needs energy to get through his work shift or get through his recovery day without relying on the fast absorbing carbohydrates.
Okay, and let me respond to all of the comments that are already pouring in. I can feel them already, which is, Jacob, what about fat adaptation? What about fasted rides? What about ketogenics? Can you touch on that subject and whether or not that makes an athlete faster?
Yeah, and it's brief. It's a brief comment for Logan, but it's a deep black hole for anyone else. And I say anyone else because it does make an athlete faster, and the benefit primarily weighs in when the distance the athlete is covering is a lot longer than what Logan is covering, which is an hour. If you're doing an half Ironman, an Ironman, I would say century rides for the cyclist, climbing Everest, 24-hour attempts, fat adaptation is a huge part of the conversation, and it's so crucial. I would say for Logan, for people that are trying to be as fast as possible over a short amount of time, and that actually does happen to be like around an hour, 75 minutes sometimes, and the more fit you are, the longer you can last, but it's almost negligible because of how fast Logan will be moving, or better yet, the intensity at which he'll be operating at is high enough. His heart rate will be high enough that even if he was fat adapted, his body would still preferentially burn carbohydrates. It would be first. His body would say, thanks for the fat, but I want to burn carbs because it's more readily available. I can convert carbohydrates to energy faster because Logan's body is asking for it faster, if that makes sense.
No,
and
totally.
So it would take years. It would take years and years and years of Logan training for his body to be reliant on fat for a short burst distance like that. But if for couch to criteria, I mean, Logan's going to be relying on carbohydrates.
Yeah, and anybody who has bonked, which is the term that we use for when you have exhausted your carb stores, right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's when you run out of energy. You've got no more dope in your system.
And people know that feeling when your body now doesn't have that readily available carb energy. Mm-hmm. Muscle glycogen, is that how it's stored in your body?
That's right. In the liver and in the muscle.
So it when you make that switch, how it feels, I get lightheaded, I get cranky, my power just takes a nosedive. So like you said, this could take years to adapt it. And then even then, the benefits for a 60-minute crit probably don't make a whole lot of sense for an athlete like Logan who's going couch to crit.
No, Logan's more concerned with a VO2 max. He's more concerned with lactate threshold. And those things are at the opposite end of the spectrum, because when you're fat adapting, that's zone 1, zone 2 foundation work for a long, long time. And it does aid in your VO2 max, but the research shows that he could do HIIT workouts and he could do power tests once a week, and that would better benefit his lactate threshold than trying to be fat adapted.
And another thing too, I'll just throw one more idea on top of this, which is it's a fine line to walk if you are cutting carbs and trying to hit like key workouts, which is what Logan is doing with where we're on the TrainerRoad platform. There are key workouts throughout the week, and if you don't have those quick energy stores in the form of carbs, like you're just not gonna be able to get through those workouts. And even if you do, like you might be out for a couple of days just trying to recover from it.
Well, that's the thing, and I think people fail to realize. Same thing with trying to lose weight, right? I think these two conversations go hand in hand when folks they sign up for a race and they want to use the training as a mechanism to help them lose weight in the process. And you might and you will lean out probably, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of times people, it's not like they have a workout on Monday and then the next workout is on Thursday or Friday, so they can really go to the well on Monday. They're going to have a workout on Tuesday, maybe a workout on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and then so on and so forth. And I think that whatever you do on Monday will likely carry into Tuesday and so on and so forth. And there's this rate of diminishing returns that occurs when you go beyond your threshold day after day after day. And sometimes it's not even effort related, it's nutrition related. So if you don't fuel properly, you're asking more of your body, just as you would if you were doing like a heavy threshold interval workout. So it's stress on your body, and you have to recover from that stress.
You ever come back from a ride where like maybe you didn't eat enough food? You probably don't experience this, Jacob. Your nutrition plan is probably
I mess up all the time.
But if you come back, and I've done this before, where it's like, oh, I didn't quite bring enough food, and there's another kind of unintended consequence of this, where like I've come back and it's like, ooh, I didn't eat anything for the last like hour and a half of my ride, and I am like ravenous. Like I could eat all of the ice cream in the freezer, and when I fuel properly, and even if it's a 4-hour ride, I'll come back hungry, and I'll definitely eat a ton of calories at lunch when I come back from my ride, but my decision making is much more sensible, and like maybe I won't plow through an entire pint of Ben & Jerry's because I am more or less satiated throughout the ride, and I'm not just like don't have that craving for just anything and everything in the kitchen. So that's another thing to think about. So let's get back on topic though for carbs, because that's going to be what Logan's going to be stuffing in his face for the foreseeable future as we get through these workouts. And there are people that are concerned about overeating on the bike, and I think once you actually break it down by the numbers, then you realize this is completely unwarranted concern. And I just did some really quick math here. Bear with me, guys. It'll make sense, I promise. So what do you recommend, Jacob, an athlete takes in grams of carbs per hour?
Plus or minus, it'd be like 40 to 60. So I think you're new to the sport, you're relatively novice, it's gonna be like 20 to 40 in. But if you're well trained, and by that I mean you've been doing it for a number of years and your gut is used to it, upwards of 80 to 100 per hour.
Yeah, I'm trying to elevate that to the triple digits. Like I am trying to get as much in as possible. And the limiter is your stomach. Like you just can't digest that many carbs per hour. That's the limit.
That's right.
Okay, so let's look at a highly trained athlete by the numbers here. Let's say it's 80 to 100 grams of carbs per hour. That is 360 to 400 calories. And then when you convert that to watts on the bike, that equates to 100 watts on the bike for an hour. And then for those of you who don't have a power meter, 100 watts is a very light spin. So I guess the point here is you are always working at a deficit on the bike, and you should not have any concerns about overeating carbs on the bike, because you're always going to be burning more calories than you're taking in. Did I get that right, Jacob?
No, that's accurate. And I tell people this all the time, because a lot of times there is a fear of either overeating during, or they're going to gain weight. Their goal is to lean out or hit a certain weight during their training. And the fact of the matter is you ruin that when you eat too much after you've worked out, or you've burned 1,000 calories and then you've gone home and you've eaten 1,000 calories. But during the workout, you likely will never be able to replenish what you burned at a 1-to-1 ratio in real time. So my suggestion is to always shoot for a third. It's pretty common for people to burn 600 to 1,000 calories per hour. You're walking, you're running, you're climbing, whatever it is. And so if you're aiming for, 150 to 300 calories per hour, you're doing a great job. You're doing an adequate job of replenishing enough so that you can sustain that effort for, as many hours as your body can handle.
Okay, so we've thrown a whole bunch of numbers at you guys, and we've thrown a whole bunch of information at you guys, and I wanted to convert this into an actual nutrition plan, because I want to find out, Jacob, if I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
Because maybe I haven't been doing this right this whole time.
You and everybody else.
Yeah. So help us, man. Make us faster. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you my current nutrition plan as it pertains to a workout or a race. And then I want Logan to do the same. And then I want Jacob to basically tell us that here's how you can get faster. Here's how you can optimize. So, Logan, why don't you start? Why don't you give us your typical training day? You have a TrainerRoad workout, and hit us with the moments leading up to, during, and then right after.
Okay, so since my workouts are in the morning, I'll start with dinner the night before. I typically we're pretty good about rounding out the plate. So usually have a protein, a vegetable, and some kind of carb. It's either pasta or rice. And then in the morning, I'll wake up and hit a gel when I wake up. And because I'm still not too used to the consistency of gels, the new consistency that I haven't ever had before, so my body's kind of weirded out by it. But I do a gel immediately when I wake up, and then I like the mix a lot more than I like gels or chews. So I pour a bottle of mix and another gel for in the middle of the workout, and that's I think around 80. I think a mix is 60. So 2 gels and a bottle of mix, and if it's an hour and a half workout, I'll throw in maybe another gel or half pack of chews or something like that. And then post that, I'll do the recovery shake, the protein recovery shake, and then after that, it's just lunch and dinner again.
So is that your breakfast? Do you have breakfast?
No, I don't eat breakfast in the morning. Okay. It's funny. Breakfast makes me sick right when I wake up. So I have to have 30 minutes of being awake before my body can eat real food. But for some reason, gel seems to be okay. So
what do you think, Jacob? All high energy stuff.
No, there was minimal that I would change with that. As he gets, depending on what his specific goals were, like let's say Logan, you definitely don't want to lose weight, but you want to build muscle and you want to get stronger. I would make sure that your protein that is, I mean, for those that want to worry about how much they're eating, protein is like I would do a third, right? A third fat, a third carbs, and a third protein. And sometimes the suggestion is to eat a gram throughout the day. You want to meet your body weight in grams of protein. And so at dinner, that means that it's usually you're getting good quality protein, 20 or 30 grams or more sometimes. But as long as you're eating to satisfaction, you're full, go rolling into that workout without eating breakfast in the morning is fine. You're taking a gel 5 minutes before, 15 minutes before, and that's great. And for those listening, what Logan suggested, what he's doing is, I mean, if we added up all those numbers, let's say 3 gels and mix, that's 120 grams of carbohydrates if that was an hour and a half workout. And so I do the same thing. In a 20-ounce bottle, I've got 250 calories, 60 grams of carbs, and I sprinkle in gels around that. And then a lot of people forget how important carbohydrates are after the workout. So carbohydrates are most important when you're immediately finishing your workout. Protein is secondary, the protein window in essence, and that's why our recovery drink is so great, because it has a combination of carbs and protein. So you're not leaving anything out. But I think what you're doing is actually pretty great.
Killing it, Logan.
Good to hear.
Killing it, dude.
All right, Jeff, your turn.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take it from a slightly different approach, because mine actually is not a whole lot different from Logan's. My workouts are in the afternoon. I do have breakfast. I'm the opposite of Logan. Like I don't know who these people are that don't eat breakfast. Logan, you have to explain this to me someday. But I definitely have to have breakfast. And then my usual workouts are usually in the afternoon before lunch. So I will pile on the carbs leading up to, as I'm getting dressed, as I'm getting my shoes on, as I'm pumping up the tires. I will already start the load. Usually it's a banana. Sometimes it's a stroopwafel, something like that. And then when I'm out on the road, I target I try to see if I can hit 100 grams of carbs per hour. I pay no mind to any other macronutrient when I'm out on the road. I am just looking at the carbs, and I'm trying to hit 100 grams per hour. And especially if it's a longer ride, I will always bring too much food with me, because I always want to come back with extra food. The last thing you want to do is get stranded without enough calories.
But what you mentioned was the emphasis on carbohydrates, which is huge, but it sounded like you also put an emphasis on consistency. And I think what Logan will learn, well, it's maybe not as important for a 60-minute all-out crit race, but as you go out for long rides and long workouts, hitting those feeding windows is so crucial, because if you miss a window, even by 15 minutes, it's really hard to pull your body back to baseline. And so I would implore Logan and those alike to be as type A and routine as you can with and when you're on the trainer, or when you have a workout that you can follow on the road, even, you can find time to say, okay, I'm gonna take a gel 5 minutes before, at the end of my warm-up, or I'm gonna take a gel at the end of the main set, and at this rest interval, so that you never miss an opportunity to drink or to take in something. And so I think that's key. But it won't be long before Logan's at 100 grams per hour.
Yeah, I'm impressed at how you started, Logan, and I wanted to also ask you about race day, because I think, Logan, your races are going to be in the morning, at least here in California. That's the way the Cat 5 races are in the morning. You said
No.
Yours are going to be in the afternoon for the training races.
Yeah, well, the local crit races are around 6 o'clock at night here.
Well, let's talk about both, because
Okay.
because my field usually races in the afternoon. So, Jacob, if you don't mind us picking your brain a little bit more, I want to go through specific race day plans for two situations. Let's say a morning crit and an afternoon crit. So, let's go with afternoon crit first, because we haven't really talked about that. So I wake up, I have breakfast, and then let's say my race is at 5 p.m. How far before my 5 p.m. race start? It's a 1 hour crit. That's what all these are going to be, 1 hour crits. How far before can I eat a Monster California burrito? That is 2,000 calories.
3 to 5 hours.
Wow, I'm usually like 2, maybe 3 hours. I wonder if I'm leaving performance on the table.
Well, that's the thing. If you're eating something that you know you could digest easily, so it's opposite ends, right? If you were going to eat a salad, it's not going to make you feel very full, and it's probably going to go right through you relatively quickly. That burrito is going to hang around, but it's going to take a lot of time to be broken down to be used as energy. When you start, you don't want your body to be in the middle of something, and then you say, hey, change it up, we're about to go race, and it's like, hey, I'm not done digesting all this food you gave me. And so, because your body, definitely your gut wants to focus on one thing at a time, and it's either rest and digest, or it's the fight and flight. So and when you're pushing in an hour crit, that's fight or flight mode. When you're working on digesting that burrito, that's rest and digest, and you can't do both at the same time.
Yeah, totally. Well, cool. And then for the morning crit, would you suggest that Logan probably just continues the same plan that he has for his training exercises? Is there something to be said for imitating your race day nutrition plan with your training day nutrition plan?
100%. I mean, that's the training Bible, right? That's the same thing as I'm going to wear the same shoes, I'm going to wear the same this, I'm going to do all that. You need to practice like you play, for sure.
All right, and so just to summarize real quick, you guys, carbs are king. Carbs are legal dope, especially for shorter events like Logan's going to be doing. We're talking 60 minutes. You're targeting 80 grams of carbs per hour, something like that. Now, there's something to be said for fat adaptation, for fasted rides, but that's only when we get to several hours long, these ultra endurance style things. Isn't that right, Jacob?
That's right.
So, what else do we talk about? Don't fear gaining weight on the bike. You're burning way more energy than you realize. Fuel for the workouts. If you're trying to maximize performance, which is the intention of this channel, which is my intention for Logan to get as fast as possible, you got to eat the carbs. And I'll just wrap up by saying there's probably 1,000 topics that we didn't get to. So please ask away below. I'm going to be down there asking questions myself. Jacob's going to be down there. Logan's going to be down there. We aim to please, so we're trying to answer as many of your guys' questions as possible. So great having you on, Jacob.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing your knowledge, man.
Of course.
Logan, as always.
Great to be here.
Happy training, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.